I've been tagged in this video a whole bunch, and essentially what it's talking about is the complexities of statistics. And most of the points that he's saying in that video are completely true, especially about the cats. But here's where I start to take a lot of issue. Essentially what he's saying is that you can't take education stats on a surface level, which is totally true. But then he throws in race. You can go back and watch that video if you like, but essentially what this person is saying is that since Texas has a larger percentage of minorities in their population, and that minorities typically rank lower in standardized test scores, that's probably why Texas is rating lower. Now, he does reference the fact that it is because these groups are marginalized and economically disparaged, but that's kind of not the point that he made in that video. And what's ironic about this is he's using this as a way to say how complex statistics are and how easy it is to manipulate and lie with them, but he's doing exactly that. So let's get into how he did that. There have been a lot of papers written about how wealth inequality affects education. And I mean a lot of papers. But there are very few showing any correlation between race or ethnicity and education. But people are still able to correlate them by essentially lying with statistics, and let me show you how that works. So I went ahead and grabbed his education data for these two states, and then I went and found income values based on the races and ethnicities that he mentioned. And then I plugged them into the spreadsheet. And now we're going to find the R number. And when we're factoring income, if race has any correlation with test scores at all, that R number should be impacted and it should be lowered. Because all we're doing is comparing these test scores to income levels. But what's that R number? 0.992. That is almost a perfect correlation. Which means these aren't correlated by race, they're correlated by income. And as pretty much most of us know, the average Black, Hispanic, or Latino households earn about half as much as the average white households. And anybody who studied CRT even a little bit at all would know this. And so now, since we found a correlation between income levels and education, and we found a correlation between ethnicity and income, we have one more thing to check to see if his conclusions from his data set are as inaccurate as we believe they are. We need to check income inequality levels by both of those states. So according to that data set, if Texas has a significantly higher income inequality rate than Wisconsin does, and that difference in inequality matches the difference in test results for both of those states, then we know without a shadow of a doubt that the correlations within his data set are based around income inequality, not ethnicity. And so, looking it up, sorted by most unequal to the least unequal, Texas is in 15th place, and Wisconsin is in 47th, which means Wisconsin is much more equal than Texas is. Statistics isn't just about finding the right information, it's also about conveying them correctly. Because that dataset doesn't point out that minorities are bad at education. Instead, that dataset should highlight how economically disparaged minorities are. Again, my main beef with that video is sorting education by race instead of inequality. Because within that dataset, ethnicity is not the problem with education. However, it points out very well that racial inequality is.